Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Saturday night. It is the Earthmaster here, jumping in with a quick update here. About 8:55 p.m. California time here, December 7th, 2024. Latest activity on the earthquake 3D globe shows looks like a little 0.9 out there somewhere in the mix around Southern California potentially. Also getting some activity on the Petrolia station right here once again. That's the area that had the 7.0 earthquake here just a couple days ago. Notice that movement stirring up quite nicely on the Petrolia station, also some Dinsmore stations there. That's very close to the epicenter area of that 7-pointer as well. So let's see what the USGS is reporting here. In the last hour or so, the last earthquake, a little 1.8 at 2047, so 10 minutes ago. Will that match up with this? 2047 is going to be this one right here. So at least they're reporting that. That's a 1.8, it looks like. A couple other earthquakes coming into the seismograph stations right now as we speak. So in the last 24 hours, according to the USGS here. Now, look at this, guys. I have to point this out. This is ridiculous, to say the least here. Look at 1454 to 1801. Are you serious? Over 3 hours of no earthquakes? I find that very hard to believe, folks, that there was no earthquake activity in between a 3-hour window. I haven't been watching these seismograph stations all day long, but the way that things are looking here, there's still earthquake activity coming in every few minutes or so. Look at that. Three hours of no activity from 1454 to 1801. Yeah, okay. I don't know why they do that. It's a flawed system, or it's manually flawed. So however it is, something's not being reported. And I've noticed it here in the last couple days. There's hours of activity where nothing gets reported there for the earthquake activity. So, got to go with what they have for now. Looks like the largest here in the last 24 hours is going to be a couple 3-pointers, 3.8 here to be exact. This is still some interesting activity. Let me pull up the last couple days of activity here and look at some of these magnitude and multitude, or the depth of these earthquakes here. The original 7.0 there a couple days ago, about 6 miles deep here on the Blanco, or on the it's the Mendocino Fault Zone. It's close to the triple point boundary here. Southern end here is going to be the Pacific Plate. Up north is going to be the Gorda Plate. 6 miles deep for that earthquake. I don't really care about Cobb Mountain down there. Most of these earthquakes here, relatively around 6 miles deep or so, but some of them are super shallow. You guys see that? At the surface level of the oceanic crust there. And some are awfully deep as well. This is deeper activity into the Cascadia subduction zone. A mixed bag of, a bunch of different depths of these earthquakes. Super shallow earthquakes here. Things are, and when that happens, when you get a large amount of shallow adjustment there across a triple point boundary such as this, that's telling me one thing, that strain is quite high out here. Still. 12 miles deep for that one. But see, a lot of shallow activity down here. Deeper activity where it's expected there into the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. So I'm not quite certain that this is over. Some newer movement stirring up down there across the northern edge. There's a little bit of migration going on here of the San Andreas Fault here, the northern end. 2.2. That's pretty deep. Just got another earthquake here. Alert on my phone. That's up in Alaska. Put that on mute. So we're still keeping an eye on that, folks. Just because the multitude quakes here on the map look like they've died down doesn't really mean that they actually have, okay? I find this hard to believe that there was no earthquakes at all from this time frame right here, 1454 to 1801. Right, that's over 3 hours. Yeah, that's that. It's frustrating. Some movement also here in the Lake Amador area, it looks like. Low 2.5 outside of Chester. Nothing big going on there for now. That's a ways away from Mount Lassen. The rest of the Cascadia subduction zone up here, pretty quiet. Nothing being reported across Oregon and Washington, and that's just due primarily because the reporting systems out here, they just don't report on the weekends for some reason. They set like a maximum level, say for example 2.5 and above, then the computer systems will spit it out. But it's always been like this. The weekends have always shown nothing going on. I'm surprised there's actually one earthquake up here being reported near the Port Townsend area of Washington earlier today, a little 1.6. But yeah, you'll see it all fill in back on Monday, pending they go back on their work and get the work that's supposed to be done. Bay Area of California, pretty quiet for now. San Joaquin Valley, quiet as well. One little earthquake outside the Wasco area, north of Bakersfield. Nothing going on across the Long Valley supervolcano for now. Extreme Southern California, of course, we had that movement this morning. 2.6 and a 3.1 down here across the San Jacinto fault zone. That looks like it's died off here. I'm not seeing any other swarming stirring up here. There's that latest earthquake, a little 1.0 across Southern California. But I still find this area of the plate to be super quiet. It's over here across the Japan area, northward. I got to bring this date down to about the last 24 hours of activity, right about there. I guess we're getting a little bit of activity here across the Crow-Kamchatka, at least the northern end of 4.8. But it's been somewhat, a little quiet up here across this northern half of the Pacific plate since the 7-pointer there in Northern California. So I'm not entirely certain that we're through with any larger scale adjustment out here across this area where we're still seeing some aftershock sequences there. Alaska 3.1, that just came in on my phone there. That is along the Aleutian Trench, it looks like. A couple earthquakes out here throughout the last 24 hours of above 2 magnitude there along the Aleutian Trench, but really nothing big going on. A little 4.3 out across the Aleutian Trench from earlier this morning, but that's fairly normal. Let's check out the Cascadia tremor tonight. See what's going on here. Yeah, that's an uptick in tremor activity at the extreme southern end here of the Cascadia subduction zone. Right? That's just due east of where all of our activity is occurring. So that tremor activity is not occurring at the surface level. This is not surface quakes. This is slow slip events being recorded downstream here, down dip, if you will, underneath this area. And there's a lot going on out here across this region. It's a very sensitive area in terms of dynamic strain and stress release. And it's actually a fairly decent number. So that tells me right there that things are still straining out here across this area. If there's tremor downstream, that means this plate area here, the Gorda plate, it's still continuing to be pushed down at the southern end here of the Cascadia megathrust area, the subduction zone. Megathrust, that sounds a little scary, but that's exactly what it is. I mean, a 9.0 or even a partial rupture out here would be scary. It's no joke. The 7-pointer, that's weak compared to what this subduction zone's capable of doing. So we got to watch this migration here, a little migrational pattern, even some stretching further down south here, it looks like. It is the San Andreas fault, so it can see some earthquake activity as well. Let's see here. Texas area, oil fields getting hit, looks like, as always. Nothing going on there across the Yellowstone National Park. And why I like to cover Yellowstone? Well, because they have occasional swarms, earthquake swarms. And it's a supervolcano, so why wouldn't I want to cover something that could drastically alter life here on this planet? I love studying Yellowstone. I've looked at several swarms throughout the years here, and it's interesting how the inflation can raise up here, and then it just kind of dies off over the years. Right now, inflation out here is fairly minimal. I don't think we got a major uptick. This reading right here looks to me like it's going to be wind, but I'm going to verify. I do want to double check here real quick and see what we got. And for that, one of my favorite apps here, the Windy Map. I got the premium version here. I love it. It's got an all-in-one type of layer. So many layers here you can only imagine. But I'm more curious about what's going on up there in Yellowstone. It looks like some wind events stirring up out there. So sure enough, what we're seeing out there in the last couple of hours is elevated wind. And that does show up on the seismograph stations there that are exposed outside to the elements. So no earthquake activity occurring up there. There's that one earthquake out around the Charleston area this morning. Nothing new to report across that area. Last 24 hours of earthquake activity on the globe shows the largest movement there so far. Going to be a 5.8 across the South Atlantic Ocean, a rift boundary out there, oceanic rift boundary. Aside from that, Tonga, a little bit of activity there today, fairly shallow. Iceland had some earthquake activity as well with a 5.2. That's across the Barabunga area, it looks like. That is a volcano out there across that continental rift zone. Although, let me see here. Where's their quake map? Let me refresh this. So, the USGS reporting that earthquake as a 5.2 up there in Iceland earlier. But the official Icelandic site here that monitors the earthquake activity is only reporting that as a 3.5. Still around that Barabunga area, that volcano, where they've been having a little bit of swarming going on, but a downgrade compared to a 5.2. So I'm inclined to, believe the agency here that covers their earthquake activity in terms of magnitude. I don't know why the USGS reporting a 5.2, but it's still up there as a 5.2. Got a little bit of movement out here across the Aleutian Trench. Extreme western edge here. A little 4.2 coming in the last hour. See what we got here for New Zealand activity. New Zealand 3.1, fairly recent. Number of threes up and down the plate boundary. Nothing big going on there for now. But that looks like one of the latest earthquakes. 3.1 coming in. Some deeper activity up north around the Tonga Trench still. And, typical crunch zone out here across the Indonesia Islands area. A more notable uptick here across the Nepal area and along the Himalayas. That's looking like something wants to move up here. Quite a few fours stirring up here in the last couple days across this area of the plate boundary. And I want to show you guys. This area can see some big earthquakes. Let's go back and take a little trip through time and see what the USGS has here on their historical earthquake catalog webpage. Across the Himalayas, Nepal. I just want to see what they have here. I've covered it a few times. I just can't remember exactly. Quite a few sixes. Looks like the last 6 around this area is back in 2021. For as largest magnitude, well, there you go. You get some big earthquakes out here around this plate boundary. 8.6 back in 1950. Nepal, this is along the lines of where we're seeing the recent 4-pointers here in the last couple days. 8.0 back in 1934. So this area, no stranger to large earthquakes. I guess the most recent, somewhat large earthquake is going to be a 7.8 back in 2015. So even though right now got a couple 4s out there, still an area to watch for some big-time movement. We still haven't had our 8-pointer yet, right? And that's something we should have seen here by now. And the reason why I say that is because on average, in terms of the number of certain magnitudes per year, an 8.0 or above magnitude earthquake is supposed to occur every year, if not every year, every other year. And here we are, 2024, almost 2025. Our last 8-pointer was back in 2021. So we're we're getting close. The question is, any, mini, mighty, mo. Where? Where could it be? Could be anywhere. Could be Southern California. Could be up here along the southern end of the Cascadia. Latest quake there. Still showing the 2.7. Let's see what we got. Looks like Petrolia went offline as I'm talking about it. But that's okay. Nothing really I can do about that besides just, yell and moan a little bit. No, they're not reporting the earthquakes. Well, that's about all I can do. I'm here to show you guys that the numbers are wrong out here. There's a lot more earthquake activity than what's being reported. Let's see, Mediterranean, some smaller quake activity out there. And again, there's that movement north here around Iceland. The Iceland folks are reporting that as a 3.5, not a 5-pointer. All right, well, I guess we'll see what happens overnight here. Flaring activity. It looks like we're starting to sizzle a little bit out there on the eastern side of the sun. That is showing up pretty nicely across the solar flux chart. Did see an M-flare activity event earlier. Nothing big. Just starting to notice a little bit more spikiness here on the graph, indicative in the last couple days here. Here's the X-flare category, M-flare. We've seen 2 M-flares, C-flare activity, and then B and A, but really never drops below the C-flare category in the solar maximum. Minimum, yes, we've seen a lot of consistent B category stuff, but overall threat right now, 5% chance for X-flare. M-flare is 50% chance, and C-flare around 99% chance or so. Nothing major, though, in the forecast for the auroras for now. Number of coronal holes have been facing the Earth, but so far we have yet to see any major change there to the geomagnetic forecast. Doesn't look like anything's in the forecast here in terms of the aurora uptick. There's a little bit of amplification right now. Could be from, some of these coronal holes that have been facing us here over the last couple days. There's a number of them out here for sure. That's some high-speed solar wind stream pointing at Earth, and it could enhance the geomagnetic field a little bit. It looks like it is tonight. Although, not really expecting anything major in terms of, major aurora shows. All right, let me grab a cough drop here. Just started getting an itchy throat for some reason out of the blue again. Storm Prediction Center, any major severe weather? Nope, 0. Just some thunderstorm activity out there across the south over the next couple days. Here's the latest GFS model showing the model trends out here. Pacific Northwest getting in on some rain and some snow. A lot of rain headed towards this area of the country. Eastern portion of the country going to get quite a drenching there as we head into early next week. And that's thanks to a low pressure system out here. Cold air, a lot of warmer, moist air ahead of that frontal boundary. Kicking up maybe some severe weather out there as we head into the middle of next week as well. Notice California, nothing going on. Maybe until next weekend. It doesn't look very promising, though. I mean, it's very disappointing. Everything that comes over California evaporates, and it's not good. December is supposed to be one of our wetter months. So, yeah, it's just, we'll have to keep our fingers crossed that something will change out here. A look at the Weather Prediction Center here. They've changed this up a little bit. 8 to 14 day outlook shows a return of experimental slight risk. That'd be nice if we got some of that. There's really not a whole lot of hope looking for that. Oh, thank you, babe. I see Mimi's here, brought me a water, heard me choking in here on the live stream. But she says howdy. So, yeah, there's our possibility there on the 8 to 14 day forecast. A little bit there across Northern California, but not much. Above average temperatures, it looks like there for a good portion of the country for December. That's not looking good. 6 to 10 day forecast there. A lot of warmth down in Texas. Precipitation wise, well, this is for the 13th to the 17th. The GFS models are not trending like this. So I'm hopeful that maybe one of these other weather models are trending towards a wetter type of environment. I mean, we can check out the ECMWF model, which is the European model. Let's see what these guys are forecasting there. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm hopeful though that things will get wet out here across California. So, all right. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Some more earthquake activity there across northern Cal. They did add another quake here since I've been yakking here on the live stream. 2.4. Let's see if that showed up there. Yeah, 2.4 at 2110. So that's going to be this earthquake right here. So you can get a pretty good idea of what the magnitudes look like as they come in. And when they show up on Petrolia and the Dinsmore station, then obviously they have to be above a 2. Unless it's another earthquake that's further away from the seismograph stations there. But for the most part, Petrolia and Dinsmore station sit around this area of Northern California. So when it does pick it up, obviously I believe that's above a 2 magnitude. So they got that 2.4 showing up right now. And that earthquake about 5 miles deep here. Got a trend though. You know, there's definitely a migrational trend southward along that plate boundary. Nothing up north yet across the Cascadia. We've had a couple earthquakes here, some deeper ones as well, but nothing in terms of any unzipping pattern here across that subduction zone, which is good. We don't want that thing to pop, but you never know. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Have yourself a good evening. Play it safe out there. Make sure you have an earthquake plan. And again, there's that app called the MyShake Early Alert System there. Definitely download it. You can find it on your app store there through the iOS or your Samsung. MyShake app. It gives you a heads up. In this case, in the 7-pointer here, a couple days ago, it gave me a 20-second warning before I felt some waves out here across Northern California from that 7-pointer. So definitely worth downloading. It's free. That's the best part. All right, folks, have yourself a good evening. We'll catch you guys back out here in the morning sometime. Tomorrow's Sunday, right? Yep. Have a good one. Take care.